let's get into sort of sales process. And just for those on the call, when I talk about sales process, it's a very broad term, and just really trying to encompass that whole idea from, what do you do when a lead comes in? How do you get a quote? How do you qualify? How do you engage? How do you quote? All the way through to getting a signed order form. And to me, the sales process ends at the signed order form in terms of what we're talking about today, because, theoretically, you've got an awesome team at the back end you hand it over to. Now, a lot of products, obviously, the account managers or the salesperson needs to stick with it to nurse it through. But just today, we're sort of talking through to signed order form. So to me, the absolute fundamental of why we spend time in the sales process is because it helps you sell more. So when I was at Vocus, again, I was really lucky. I joined, there was 23 people. By the time I left 7 years later, there was about 3,500. And really, really quickly and really fast growth, I learned that focusing on the sales process and effectively making it easy for my sales team to sell was the single biggest thing I could do. And so I got a teensy bit obsessed about that. So, if I nerd out too hard on this call, my apologies. It's something I think about a lot. Now, I think the other key thing is we should, everything we should do in sales process, we should be empowering salespeople, not putting the handbrake on. It's very easy in sales process to look for everything that could go wrong and lock that down. Your salespeople can't probably sell anymore. So it's about finding that balance. And, the other thing I want to sort of think about is what does this look like in 2021? And hence, we've got Qwilr on the call, because I think the thing that really attracted me to Qwilr was this idea that, a sales proposal doesn't have to be a PDF. And we think, I see a lot of companies in the height of technology is like, they're like, yeah, but I send my PDF through DocuSign, right? It's done online. And you're like, yeah. So Steve, let's talk a little bit about Qwilr and where does it fit into the sales process?
Yeah, thanks, Matt. It really can actually fit in any number of places. I mean, I mentioned that the sales proposal as being like the classic use case that we see as a pain that would bring customers to us. But Qwilr is a smart document tool, so it's allowing you to create any document as a web page. And so you get mobile responsiveness, analytics, collaboration. You can pull in the superpowers of the web into your documents, things like videos and dynamic pricing and calendars, and all these things that are there to empower sales teams and remove friction. So, I mean, we do see the sales proposal as being one of the bigger use case documents at Qwilr, but then as a tool, we have clients that use it right through a sales funnel. So if you imagine one client I worked with recently, they would have sort of 5 or 10 of their top case studies created as Qwilr documents, and then they'll embed their sales teams, their AEs, calendars into that particular document. So the flow for the customer at top of funnel is they inquire about the company, they get an industry fit case study sent to them, which has the sales team's calendar in it. They book into the meeting, then that goes into a demo using a morphed Qwilr document from that original document, then onto like a sales proposal from there, which is another version of that Qwilr document, again, all branded and kind of provides continuity during that process, then through the contract and e-sign. So it can really like support sales teams like throughout that whole process. And I think about like one of the things you mentioned, like about empowering sales teams, it really is, I think, important to a lot of companies are operating almost like a zero trust environment around sales teams and like wanting to lock down permissions and stop their team from doing all these different things. But I've seen like the best sales teams I've seen are the complete opposite of that, when you empower people and they can go out and do their jobs to the best effect.